We are unbelievably PC, politically correct. So this brings up all sorts of problems, and it takes this notion of equality to the extreme, and really goes against the value that we embody, which is openness and directness. If Americans are nothing, if not nothing, they are open and direct, or at least they used to be. So, this really bugs me, especially, all kidding aside, especially since I'm a word person and a communications person. I do like to be low context and get to the point. However, I also like it to be authentic, and I like it to be honest. And it can be done tactfully. So to think that this was kind of something to be a well-intentioned way to create harmony has sort of backfired and ended up being a way to avoid candid discourse, and it disguises the nature of truth. So this absolutely goes against the American value of directness and openness. And as I said, I really find it irksome, because in their quest to, let's put it, not offend the groups that traditionally, the white guy in power ended up offending everybody by all his historic misdeeds, and we know what they are, beginning with the founding of our country and the genocide of the Native Americans, and then slavery and so forth. We did a bang up job, but in their effort to make some sort of, I guess, reparation in terms of how they relate to one another, they ended up muddying the waters and muddying the lines of communication, so that it became a very indirect way of communicating, which is not how Americans communicate at all. It's, in fact, let's say, a more Eastern kind of thing, or, these high context cultures. So it's done little for learning and comprehension. It just never really gets us to say what we mean and mean what we say, which was really something to admire about us, I think, as long as you said it tactfully, and you you had some sense of civility about you, even if you were going to argue with somebody, a healthy discussion. And it creates, on top of that, this sort of resentment and mutual frustration, because when you don't get to express what you want to say, your thoughts and feelings, you get frustrated. And so that doesn't help anybody at all. Nobody ever really got to say what they wanted to say, and I think in a democracy, this is essential. And I don't think I can overstate that enough. So the well-intentioned harmony is what this is about, and misguided fairness, which goes against our value and respect for rules and law. We're all about, we have rules and regulations and rights and so forth, but it has not served that value very well. We've even gone, and that's connected to equality, because of course we want the playing field to be level. So while we do that, we do things like we treat kids as our equals. We treat our kids like equals, and we let them make decisions. So this is also connected to power distance. All kinds of things when you're relating to people get affected by it. The idea of political correctness, which has its roots obviously in our diversity initiatives, again, not to offend the people that we named, slaughtered, and colonized historically, is really all about what George Orwell talked about in his famous book 1984. It was doublespeak, and there was this fictitious warning about, well, hey, be careful, first they take the words, then they take away the meaning. And, not to be like a conspiracy theorist or anything, but, hey, this is where we're at. You simply cannot be direct to the point that you were, 50 years ago, all you have to do is watch some archival footage on TV, and you can see how people spoke. They were modest, they were polite, but they spoke their mind. So this is very different from being the in-your-face kind of Americans that we're seeing now, who are not really expressing their true thoughts and feelings. So, when we talk about political correctness, the kind of things that we're hearing that deliberately disguise or distort or reverse the meaning of words are downsizing in exchange for layoffs or getting fired. You hear servicing, that's the dog barking, sorry guys, I live in a house here. Servicing the target for bombing, troops instead of soldiers, all kinds of these military words. We don't see or hear the actual words of war. Intentional ambiguity or actual inversions of meaning, like naming a state of war, peace. We've heard many of these. So doublespeak is very closely associated with political language, another well-intentioned way to avoid leaving anyone out because of our, as I said, value of equality. And we insist on treating everyone the same. Again, everyone's a winner, treating kids like adults.